In your quest to create a brilliant culture that works for your organization, drives your strategic objectives, and enables your success, you must remember to remain authentic and create something that's unique to your company. But that doesn't mean you have to start from scratch. Businesses all over the world have wrestled with the challenge of culture development for probably hundreds of years now in thousands of different ways. And I've personally spent my career studying what the best companies in the world do and translating that into practical tools that you can apply to your enterprise. Because the secret is you can accelerate your success not by copying what others do, but by modeling the traits of the very best in the world. And there are key themes that develop when you look at hundreds of successful companies. So what are they? What do the very best companies in the world do when it comes to creating a brilliant, highly effective culture? Well, number one, they are very clear on why they exist, where they're going, and who they are. In the most successful companies, there's very little ambiguity. Clarity is king and seeps through the organization, forming a solid foundation on which everything else is built. And that clarity starts with absolute precision of mission and purpose. Companies with highly engaged workforces that display significant levels of discretionary effort, creativity, innovation, and high performance are driven by an unerring sense of the difference they're trying to make in the world and why that difference matters. There's a distinct, deliberate direction of travel too. There may be details that still need to be worked out, but overall, the company's leadership know where they're headed, what the organization will look like when they get there, and the key drivers of their success. They communicate these things consistently to their teams so that everybody in the business understands exactly what the future holds. Now, look, you can't anticipate everything, of course, and it wouldn't be much fun if you could, but by painting a clear picture of what lies ahead, the best companies create a vision of the future that their people can see their own path in. Now, naturally, there are many ways you can achieve a set of objectives, but the best businesses have a strong sense of personality, driven by agreed upon values that really shape the way they work. They know who they are, and they don't compromise that to appeal to the market. Often, there are people who identify strongly with them, and others who resist. They're not for everyone. But these organizations use their values to forge the culture that drives their success, connecting the behaviors that they want to see with reward, recognition, and achievement. Secondly, the best companies in the world hire the right people, not just people with the right skills. Technical skills are important, especially in highly specialized fields like biotech, but a collection of people with the right skills doesn't necessarily make for an effective team. It's the coming together of individual, diverse characters with complementary strengths that enables performance. Great companies use the values they've identified as central to their culture to ensure they hire the right people, those who already align with who the company is and compound its unique environment. The best companies are normally, but not always, hotbeds of diversity too, and they definitely don't prioritize culture fit. Now, I've talked about culture fit at length in other videos, but in short, it's a flawed concept, it's typically very subjective, and it leads to homogenous teams which quash diversity. If we agree that diversity is a good thing, which has been proven to be true, at least as it relates to innovation, problem solving, and overall business performance, then we need to look beyond culture fit. But that doesn't mean you can just hire anyone, though. Bring the wrong group together with the right skills, and you're headed for disaster. Excellent companies focus on values fit instead, creating specific competencies from the values that define them, and then testing candidates against those competencies. By doing so, they're able to assemble diverse teams that still share common ground in the areas that really matter, but have varied backgrounds, experience, perspective, and ways of thinking. Thirdly, the best companies align objectives, manage performance, and invest in their people. Now, I've been working with biotech companies on creating brilliant cultures for a couple of decades now, and it still surprises me when I talk to leadership teams who, from the outside, look like they're doing everything right. They've got exciting science, they've been successful in fundraising, they've brought great people and profiles into the business. But then when you get under the surface, they make key mistakes in performance management. These are the companies who agree on corporate objectives for the year around about April, then manage to cascade them down to individuals maybe by the end of summer. When they've finally set those objectives, they'll be reviewed once a quarter if you're lucky, unless the employee is particularly proactive and takes control of their interactions with their line managers. And by the way, if you find one of these people, promote them immediately. If there's any attention paid to skills development, it'll usually be in the form of development goals rather than clear plans. And those goals will typically consist of attending a couple of conferences or reading a book or two. But the best businesses do things differently. Given the clarity of mission that already exists, they translate their long-term goals into company objectives well ahead of time, often several years in the future. The year will have specific outcomes from the very start, and a golden thread will be evident from these outcomes through to quarterly priorities, monthly objectives, and weekly action plans for each individual. Every single person will know exactly what they need to deliver, and managers will work on aligning objectives to ensure there's no accidental overlap or gaps, and that the team are all working in the same direction. Performance will be closely monitored, not to micromanage or control, but to identify issues early, provide proactive support, and communicate setbacks quickly. While objectives will be stretching, team members will have tailored development plans tied to their goals that ensure they develop the skills that they need to deliver and that increase the capability of the organization from one day to the next. And as a result of all of this, there are really high levels of engagement and enthusiasm. Performance is typically excellent, and problems are tackled when they're small, rather than festering and growing. The fourth trait of very successful companies is that they listen and try to improve the environment. Exceptional companies are in no way perfect. The key distinction, though, is that they recognize that and consistently try to improve. This goes for everything they do, including how they deliver to their customers and stakeholders, how effectively they run their operations, and of course, how their people feel about their working environment. Now, your team don't expect you to be perfect either. They do, however, expect you to listen to their feedback and frustrations and to attempt to make things better. The very best companies know that the people with the most impactful ideas are usually the ones at the coalface, and they spend lots of time, energy, and money to get feedback from those people. When they have that feedback, which typically comes in many forms through a variety of channels, they act on it, removing interference, providing resources, and changing things that really matter to the people who are actually responsible for their success. Much of the time, the things that make a real difference don't cost a lot of money to change. They just require you to listen thoughtfully and take action. Do what the greats do and create feedback loops, then try to make things better. And finally, great companies identify and develop great leaders. The higher the quality of leadership, the more successful the company. If you look, I'm sure you'll find exceptions to this, but not many. Great leaders are the beating heart of great companies. You can do everything right, but if you don't have a core group of leaders who connect people to the organization, bring the best out of those in their charge, push those people to achieve things they never thought possible, and who communicate the future you're trying to create, then you'll be in for an extremely tough fight. Leadership development is often neglected in fast-moving organizations. It's seen as a luxury or something you'll get to later. But brilliant companies understand two things: that leadership qualities are rare and hard to find, and that every leader can become better. Because of this, truly remarkable companies constantly scan their teams for those who display leadership qualities and the ambition to take on more, advancing them quickly and empowering them with responsibility. They support this acceleration with very specific, tailored development plans access to mentors, and by ensuring that the only limit on people's potential is their performance. Even the most experienced leaders are pushed to continuously work on themselves, and yes, that includes the CEO. Without great leaders, everything else falls down. With them, what's possible becomes exponentially greater. Look, clearly there's a lot to consider in each of these 5 areas, and every company is different, so the way that you'll define your values, identify talent, and manage performance will be unique to you, if you're doing it right at least. But these are the things that the best companies in the world have in common. Creating your own version of them will be key to your success.